Bosh, welcome back to episode 35 of Catabolic Window. We have Kenno down there for me. Back again with the Renegade Master. No, not doing that. We'll start with Kenno last. So we won't start with Kenno. We'll finish with Kenno. So, Luke, tell me how your week's been, mate.
Been fairly boring, mate. Just back at home, back working, learning shit as always. Got a set up to do this evening as well. And that's about it, man.
What about the coach? Training the coach?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Luke. Right, we'll swiftly move on to Jack Archer because Luke has the skills of a 2-year-old.
I got 2 clients, and personally, I'm down from peak weight 17 pounds now. That's it. Not this week. This week I've lost like 5 pounds, I think. Yeah.
That it?
Yeah. I know.
I
know, mate. Poor.
Fucking lifestyle client numbers, that is.
Literally, mate. Literally.
Right.
Weekly.
Is that your full weekly update?
Yeah, man. It's like, well, the rest would just be more detail of that, but essentially 2 new clients and I've lost 5 pounds. That's the only thing that's changed.
Right. Well, I'll keep mine short and sweet then.
Yeah, go on.
I'm on higher food now, finally.
We made that adjustment, the coach.
Yeah, myself and I. I'm nearly at 3,700 calories now, which is pretty decent considering I was on 3,500 fucking
lifestyle numbers, mate. That is lifestyle numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's when they're trying to cut and just out on the weekend. That's what they pack away on that. What else? I had quite a nice weekend, chill weekend. Training's going good. Working like usual. Other than that, yeah, been pretty sound, I'd say. Yeah, shortest down update ever.
That is swift, mate. For you,
and I got a new trim. It's still too long to stop because when I kept saying shorter, he didn't do it. But
I got a new trim actually as well.
Fucking hell,
mine's going out now.
See you later, hairline.
It's not that bad.
You need to get like a pull forward hairstyle. It would suit you so much better. Just from like hairline perspective.
You know, I had that. I think it was my second show that I had that, like a proper ket cut going on.
Nah, not a Finn Kelly cut. We're not talking a fucking Lego man. I hate that haircut. But something that comes forward because you're basically
Finn Kelly cut. Get a Reese trim.
Yeah, it could work. Shorter on the top. Yeah. Professional barber advice now available. But now we'll move on to the main attraction. Kenno, how's your week been?
My week has been good, mate. Very good. I was in Ireland last weekend with Drew and Ben. Obviously, Drew was competing in the BNBF, which he won his class, which was fucking sick, to be fair. Oh, sorry, boys, you can't swear, can you?
Nah,
but,
that's fine, mate. Don't stress.
Oh, good. He won his class. He looked mint, and his next show. I don't think he's announced his next show, so I'm not actually going to say when it is, but he's going to look even better for it, obviously. But yeah, aside from that, being good. Had a pretty stressful week at work, but that is what it is. These things happen.
Shitting on the walls again.
Yeah, nah, not on the walls, bro. No, it's just like I've done some long hours this week, and if you imagine the stuff I've had on, and imagine like a dumbbell tricep kickback, that's about as useful as they have been, all of them. So I've been running the place myself. Pretty tough. I am also down 5.5 pounds this week. Unlucky Jack. Just had to beat you.
Oh, damn it.
But I'm feeling it today. I'm pretty hungry. But yeah, mate, all is good with me. I'm happy to be back on with everyone, and I'm looking forward to it. So,
right. So this week we're going to talk a bit more about Kenno's bodybuilding journey because Luke fucked it last time. I don't know if you can hear us. Hopefully, he didn't.
Speaking of it fucking it, jumps on a call yesterday, the wrong day.
Oh yeah. By the way, everyone knows late Luke. Now we've just got. I'm not going to say the R word, but that Luke, because he can't read a group chat now. He's going to blame his little dyslexia, but I'm not having that. Saturday and Sunday mixed up. He was Saturday. Boys, where are you? I'm sat at the gym thinking, oh, have I cocked
Yeah,
up?
same. I was in the car park, like, fuck.
'Cause I was sometimes I do cock up because my life's quite sporadic compared to these lot. Well, certainly the Luke and Jack. But yeah, I was sat there. I was thinking, oh, I fucked it, haven't I? And then Big Jack Arch comes in and goes, nah, it's Sunday. And I was like, I knew it was Sunday.
Yeah, screenshots and everything. We sent it to Luke.
Yeah.
I sent it to Kenno. I was like, fuck. I
Yeah,
apologize.
Luke
I sent my
wasted
voice
Kenno's
note.
time as well.
Yeah.
Mate, honestly, me and Ben were falling behind at the gym. I was like, shit, Ben, I've got to go. Fucking shot home. I'm pretty sure my punt has never gone that fast in its entire life.
Oh, you fucked your session as well. Oh,
Oh, Luke.
The session was done.
Oh.
The session was done. It's just I was like, shit, I don't have a lot of time. So I shot home, had a quick shower, had some food, got on the call, and then I go on my Instagram and I see Jack in the car putting a story up. I was like, wait a minute.
Luke.
Oh,
So
good.
yeah, Luke's just the king of bucking up the structure of this.
Luke, no. In our group chat, Luke put a message. He like replied to a message I put on WhatsApp where I was like, Saturday's the only day I can do. And he was like, what about this? And the message underneath was like, never mind, I can only do Sunday. And I literally sent the message underneath and was like, remember this one. Oh, my days, mate.
Safe to say Luke is not going to get through uni. I'm joking, Luke. But yeah, we are going to talk about Kenno's journey in bodybuilding because it's going to be different to most people's, but it could be similar to yourself, but you might not know it. So my first question is, Kenno, can you tell us a bit more about the whole testosterone issue you went through?
Yeah, man. So basically, I'll go over briefly what the issue was. I was diagnosed last year with secondary hypogonadism, which is essentially where there's something in your brain, the HPTA axis or hypothalamus, whatever you want to call it. It signals down essentially to your balls and tells them to produce testosterone in its like simplest form. But mine essentially doesn't do that. Like it was a genetic defect from birth, and my hypothalamus simply just doesn't function as it should do. So over the like puberty, I've essentially been in like a regression of testosterone to the point where like I'm sure going through puberty, like I sort of had some testosterone there, like there definitely were signs of it, obviously. But as far as it goes, it was a pretty incomplete puberty. Like I never truly developed as I should have, so to speak. And throughout COVID in particular, it definitely got a lot worse. But I just didn't realize because obviously, as we were in COVID, everyone was alone, sort of thing. So whilst I was getting worse, I just didn't notice it day by day, and I just assumed it's how I was meant to be because I weren't seeing my mates or anything. And then it got to a point where I was sat down with my mates speaking about things, and they were all just like, "Oh, that's a bit weird. Like, you shouldn't be feeling like that." I was like, "Oh, sound." So I went and got some blood work done, and yeah, I came back with a lovely score of 3 nanomoles per liter testosterone on that first blood test, which for reference is probably the same amount you'd have as like a 7-year-old. So I realized something was wrong, which it's a weird one because like everything else was, well, apart from all the sex hormones, everything else was normal. Like even like my FSH and LH, which are like the stimulating hormones for testosterone production, they were all fine. So the doctors weren't sure what were going on. They asked me about diet, lifestyle. Like at this point, I was in a bodybuilding, so to speak. So like all that stuff was in order. Like I slept well, I ate well, I trained well. Oh, well, I say I trained well. You know, we all. I trained 5 times a week. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
But, so I then ended up getting an MRI scan done, which showed the issue in the hypothalamus. And from that point onwards, basically got put on TRT, and that was last year. It took about 7 or 8 months on the NHS to actually get the final diagnosis. I was waiting a long time on that MRI scan. And I'd say during that time, that's probably when I was at the worst, like mentally and physically, I was out for the count, really. Since then, it's been going pretty well, upward trend. And that's where I'm at now with it, really.
Yeah, so for reference for people that don't know a lot about like testosterone measurements, I've got my blood test here that I got done around the 27th of June, 2022. And it says the normal range is from 8.64 to 29 nanometers per deciliter, and mine's 18.6, or it was then. So 6 times less than that is pretty extreme. And obviously for most people, you're going to think, oh, you just can't grow muscle. But Kenno, what other problems do you have with that besides like the bodybuilding side of it?
The biggest issue I faced was just the lack of motivation to do anything. Like I'd wake up and I'd just lie in bed because I couldn't even like bring myself to stand up, kind of thing. It really does just take over your life. Like, don't get me wrong, like people who've prepped and at the back end of a prep, when obviously your hormones are all in the bin, they'll know what it's like, because everything's just a struggle. It feels like you've got weights around your legs and like nothing wants to work. The second hardest thing I dealt with was the mental side of it, because feeling so miserable all the time, funnily enough, makes you feel pretty miserable mentally as well. So I went through a really tough period of just like feeling less than human, and it just really affects you, and you don't really, like, as much as you would want to reach out to someone and explain what's going on, the reason for it happening isn't like you're not depressed because your life is in a bad way, but it's for a reason that people don't really understand. And like you can't really explain it, because like on the surface you look fine, but just like everything inside is just like not good. Do you know what I mean? It's a really tricky one to explain. And like even explaining to my parents and like my friends about what I needed to do in terms of TRT to sort myself out, they're all like, oh, so you're just going to start taking steroids then, kind of thing? Because like obviously it's a grey area.
Steroids fix everything, man.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking there. Like, what did your family think was going on when you were like waking up and not having the energy to get out of bed and just feeling awful all the time?
I don't really know, because like for a long time I sort of just hid it from them. Like there was finally a tipping point where I just sat them both down and I was like, look, I've got to be honest, I'm miserable. And like that was pretty tough, to be fair, because it did shock them, because like to my family and to my friends, and even on like social media, because like I started my fitness account around the time I got my first blood test back. I tried to come across as someone who didn't have any issues really, do you know what I mean? But they were there the whole time. And then when I told my parents what was wrong and what I was going to do to fix it, they were like, you're making it up, basically. Because I suppose that's the first thing they would think when you say, oh, well, yeah, I'm going to have to start injecting myself. They're like, whoa. You know what I mean?
Horses there.
Yeah. But once I have all the paperwork still, but once I sat them down and showed them all the blood work and like told them that I've literally everything that I could do naturally to boost my testosterone is being done, and it's just like every test I get back is between 3 and 4 nanomoles, they kind of got it more. And like at the end of the day, they were just like, well, it's your life. Like I told them, it's a big commitment, I'm going to be on it forever, but if I don't go on this now, I probably won't be knocking around much longer. It's just I couldn't do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think the important distinction is it's not the, oh, bro, your testosterone is probably low, just hop on gear, you'll be all right. It's not actually medically needed, because the amount of people that would just hop on gear and confuse it with, say, just being depressed or, you know, other things. Like, how do you think you make that distinction? Like you said, you found things between your mates.
I did have a lot of people message me about it, because I put a story up the day I started TRT. Funnily enough, it's the day I met Tom Taylor, who coaches me now, because he messaged me off the back of that story. But I put a story up saying, this is what has happened, this is what I'm doing, like yada yada yada, if you got any questions, holler at me, sort of thing. And I had a few people message me saying, oh bro, I think I might have low testosterone. And I was just like, without sounding like a dickhead to them all, I was like, at the end of the day, if you've got low testosterone, you're going to know about it, because you will be miserable. Like a lot of people who messaged me were like, yeah, well, I just feel tired and like, you know,
I hear that on a daily basis, and it's almost like going to a doctor and being like, I think someone shot me point blank with a shotgun, but I'm not sure because it kind of hurts here. Like it's so definitive. Like if you have low testosterone, it's everywhere. There's no escaping it. Like my test was in the natural range, but on the lower end, and I felt fucking awful. And like to have genuinely like under range testosterone, I can't imagine what that's like. It's such a definitive feeling. Yeah, again, it's like walking around being like, I think I broke my leg. Like, no, you'll fucking know if it's happening.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people who message me like, oh, well, I'm just a bit tired and like, I don't think I perform very well in the gym and all this and that. And I used to just say to people, well, does your dick still work? And they were like, well, yeah. I was like, well, there you go. You don't have low testosterone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're still like able to be attracted to anyone, then you're fine.
That's what I mean. Because I used to tell people that like, before I started TRT, the whole function of like my penis was literally just to go to the toilet. Like I had no other use to me. Do you know what I mean? That was like the main thing I said. I was like, well, if you still got some function going on, bro, then like you don't have low testosterone. You just need to fucking sleep for 8 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mate, I remember exactly what you're sort of saying, because from literally like 2 months out, I didn't get a boner the whole rest of prep. And I was like, this is so fucking mad.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I always used to say that to people. Like, it was easier to just be blunt rather than be like, oh, bro, no, you should get blood tests. I'm like, well, are you like physically attracted to females, and does your dick work? And if they're like, yes, I'm like, well, there you go, your testosterone's fine. Do you know what I mean? You just need to eat more or sleep better or do something that you're just not doing and avoiding, basically.
Yeah. If you're still looking at a woman and like finding them attractive, you're fine. Like low T will be like, you'll just look at them and be like, person.
Yeah, yeah, literally, bro. I used to say that to like Ben and stuff, because Ben knew about it the whole time. And like he'd always go to him and be like, oh, look at her, and I'd just be like, yeah,
and what?
Whatever.
When he had a missus, did he?
No, mate, no. Just window shopping.
But I mean, yeah, realistically, if you think you've got it and you're convinced you do, go get a blood test, like Medichecks, just for the testosterone one alone is like 30 quid.
Oh yeah, there's no
quid
getting done to know where you're at.
Paying for testosterone and whatever else from the gear side of things, because I can imagine it's quite easy to go down a rabbit hole, which kind of leads you on something like I wanted to ask about. Obviously, you love bodybuilding. You may compete one day. And I think I might be mistaken in saying Tom might have had the same issue, right? Tom Taylor.
Yeah. That's why he reached out to me, Tom, because at the time I tagged Ben and my old coach, who he wasn't actually coaching at the time, to be fair, but he knew about the issue as well. And my old coach, when he shared it, Tom followed him. So Tom reached out to me off the back of that story. And that's how we got speaking about it, because he was in the same position of having secondary hypergonadism. And he sort of told me what he did, what he went through, because he went through the same process as me, basically. Except he made the choice a lot sooner than me. Rather than waiting for the NHS, he just went, right, fuck this, and just started TRT on his own, basically. So,
my question is that, because obviously Tom's competing, I imagine that you would probably compete one day, maybe not, but obviously you don't have the choice to do it naturally and healthy like you could have. But no point. It's better to be like a normal person. Obviously, you're then against people that, like, you might want to do it healthily and stay in the natural range, just for like to act natty almost, but you still would have to go in a untested federation against people that are willing to push the boat. Like, how do you view that? How do you feel about going up against people that could be blasting a couple of grams and trading just as well as you and sleeping just as well, but you're still forced into it?
Well, for me, like, I've spoke to Tom about this a lot, and we did an hour for a bit, but I've sat down and just really sort of had a like consultation with myself almost about the whole my thinking. And for me, in honesty, at this point, I'm just so happy to feel the way I do now that I don't see the need to jump on anything else now. Like, obviously, in an ideal world, I'd never be on TRT, but that is just the like cards I've been dealt in life. But I would be more than happy to get on stage, just staying on TRT. And like, at the end of the day, I know I'm not going to be a pro. I don't want to be a pro. Like, I went through a tough time last year alongside the TRT stuff with taking myself too seriously as a bodybuilder. And for me, it's more important to just be the most like flexible version of myself now. And if that means staying in the range I am in, which I'm more than happy with, enjoying more time off being a bodybuilder, and then just bringing the best version of myself to stage, then that'll do me. Like at the end of the day, yeah, I could push the belt out, could get bigger, comes with the risks, of course, which I know. But for me, doing it just for one season, it just doesn't seem worth it, man, because I'm going to lose it all straight away after anyway. And like, I think that'd mess me up even more. So for me, it's just, I'll stay with where I am. When I do, like, I will compete one day. And when I do compete, as long as I bring my best possible luck, then that's all that matters. I don't care about winning. Like, I just want to do my best. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think at the same time, I saw your progress, Tom, put up. I think it might have even been today or yesterday. Like, it's ridiculous in a year what you've done on like TRT. Like,
yeah, it is crazy to look at, to be fair. And it's one of them things as well. It's like the little like treat on the end of a spoon. It's like, oh well, imagine that with like something else in there. Do you know what I mean?
shocking the trend.
The thing is though, right? Like when people, if you're ever, if anyone listening or anyone is in that mindset of like, I'm doing really well naturally, what could I do enhanced? There's a massive flip side to that, where say you're blasting 2 grams of gear and you do really well, you'll be like, oh, how much of that is me? How much of that is drugs?
Yeah.
So like, mate, I think a lot of people resonate with that mindset, but don't get too like caught up in it. And
you know, oh no, I've never get caught up.
Yeah,
I always, for me, that idea of like, oh, what can I look like on, like, if I was to do something, is literally just nothing more than a fantasy. Like, something I'd like to just picture in my head and be like, well, that would look pretty fucking mint. But it also at the same time doesn't interest me to do it, because me, like, it's just not worth it. Like, psychologically, I know I'd end up more messed up losing all that mass after I come off that cycle than I would be if I went on it to do better in a show. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, I think in my head, for like gear use, like obviously it's a bit different because you're forced into it, but to blast or to, you know, use a decent bit, you have to justify it by your actions elsewhere. Like for me, it's a last resort, obviously. I think it would be for most people. Like, you have to nail your sleep, everything before you consider that, or at least has to match it. If you're on like TRT for health, you can live that flexible lifestyle. But if you want to start pushing the boat a little bit, in my personal opinion, everything has to be nailed first. You have to, and it has to stay that way. Like, if you want to push it like that, you need to be nailing everything, because if you stop nailing things just because you're on more gear, you know, you're just going to get comfortable. I'll push it up a little bit. I can be a bit more lax and still make this progress. So it's like a bit of a tricky game, really.
100%, man. 100%. Like, at the end of the day, it's just muscle. It's you're just chasing a bit more muscle. So like, if you have to be okay with the trade-offs of that, like, you know, like kenno said, like, you know, he's just happy to be happy and be himself, and he wants to bring the best package to the stage. So what's the point in potentially fucking that up for some slightly bigger biceps, slightly bigger pecs, you know?
I agree.
Slightly bigger delts, bro. Have you seen the size of this?
Yeah, mate, delts are calm.
Yeah, it's a sticky one, that, mate. It seems to be the best responder in my body, which I won't complain about.
Yeah, I fucking love that, mate. What was the like? So obviously you knew some things are off from having a low test. Was there something like when you went on test that you thought, "Fuck me, I didn't even realize that was off"? Like, was there anything like that?
I wouldn't say so. I'd say the thing that surprised me most about going on was how quickly I went back to just actually feeling normal. Like, I didn't realize some things take a bit longer. Like, I remember the first thing that came back was like my libido, of course, that came back within the month. I just remember waking up one morning with morning wood thinking, what the fuck? And it was the craziest thing, man. Like, it was so weird. The second thing that came out really quickly was just like my old personality. Like I remember, you don't just wake up one day and think, oh, I'm sound again. But like, there was, I think it was like 7 or 8 weeks into it, I was sat down just watching a movie with my family, and my mum just looked at me and went, you really have changed now. And I was like, oh shit. And like, it sunk in. I was like, yeah, I am a lot like happier now. Because like before, when I was in the way I was, I used to just be a bit of an arsehole to everyone. Like, it weren't their fault. It was my fault, if anything. But like,
Maybe I have a low test.
Yeah. But like, anything when you're in that way just sets you off. Like, I could wake up and go downstairs, and my mum would like ask me what I'm doing that day, and I'd just be like, oh, just shut the fuck up. Do you know what I mean? I just didn't want to speak to her. Like, you just feel terrible, and like you just take it out on people. And like sometimes I'd snap at someone and I'd be like, why have I just done that? Because like they weren't even trying to annoy me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was a tough one.
That
But,
must be nice to hear as well for her to say that like this has actually worked, when initially, like you were saying earlier, they were thinking like, oh, is he just going on gear?
yeah, that was the main thing. So they were very skeptical at first, obviously, as you would be, I suppose, because when you suddenly turn up with all these like syringes and fucking vials and all this, are like, okay, what's going on here? But yeah, after a few weeks, when they started to notice just how positive I was, like being affected, they were like, yeah, we understand it now. And like they're fully behind it now. And like they understand it. But I think that it was just they needed to see what a difference it would make at the same time.
Did the NHS ever try and get you to do like the testosterone cream or gel or anything like that?
Yes, they did. So at the minute with my TRT, I'm actually with a private company called Optimail, which is how I get the in-hand fate. And because the procedures in NHS are like really outdated, like they're terrible, basically.
That doesn't surprise me.
They gave me a choice of either doing this gel daily called Testo Gel. That was it, Testo Gel. Or you can basically get like straight up. I can't remember the amount, but it's pretty much like a full like mil injection of I think it's propionate or something. Oh no, they use Sustanon.
Oh, what? And they just give it to you for like a month?
They just straight up fucking blast you immediately, put you up to like God knows what level of testosterone, and just let you crash for the next month, and then they do it again. But they have to do it as well. Like you have to go in and get it done. You can't do it yourself. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that because I don't want to go from feeling fantastic to feeling shit at the end of every month. So I was like, I'll try the gel at first. The gel did nothing, in honesty. Like I got some blood work done, 6 weeks on the gel, and my testosterone was literally just scraping the normal range. But to the NHS, that's brilliant. Like I remember getting the blood, I still felt pretty shit. And they went to me, oh, mate, you're normal again. Look, it was like 9.1 or something. I was like, well, I still feel like shit. And they were like, oh, no, but it's all right because you're normal now. I was like, well, I'm not. Like, normal's different.
It still doesn't work, bro. I can't be normal.
9 nanomoles, yeah, it's in a normal range, but that's if you're like, what, 75 years old or something?
But also that's at that point in the test, like your test is going to go up and down. So what's going to happen during the parts of the day where it's down, you know? Exactly. Like the furthest point from administration is probably going to be low. It's probably going to be out of range if it's only 9.1.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that's when I realized, I was like, well, I'm going to be in just as shit a position, really, if I don't actually take matters into my own hands. So that's when I went to the clinic. I had to get my blood work done just for them. And then ever since then, I've been on 100 milligrams a week. And my testosterone sits nicely now at an average of like 28.
Fuck me.
You're beating me by 2 points, you bastard.
Yeah, man, it's all right, though, because you're fucking natty. So it's an absolute god, mate, to be honest, with 26 nanomoles.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some another lot done sort of later this year before I start the diet phase. So we'll see where it's at then.
Yeah, I reckon I should get it done.
Your diet phase, bro. I bet you still sit at a good range at the bottom of your diet, you know.
Oh, at the end of prep, I did feel pretty grim. But I think, yeah, that's obviously slightly different. I think when I got it done after prep, it was like 15 or something like that.
See, that's
like
why is only
no, wait. As in like 6 months after prep.
Oh,
right.
Okay, not at the end of prep. That's not the end of prep then, is it?
Well, I said after prep. I didn't say end of prep.
That is quite mad, 15. I got, before shifting onto gear, I was 12.
Wait, I thought you were 90.
Fuck off. It was 12, but I've been dieting for 6 months. I was kind of lean and I was already feeling it. And currently now it's at like 55. Yeah, it's pretty yummy.
Where's blasting?
Yum yum.
So are there any negative effects you've noticed from it besides the obvious like injection pain, anything like that?
Well, to be honest, like injecting pain isn't actually even like a thing. like I don't ever experience any issues with injecting because you use obviously the small insulin needles. The only negative effect I would say, like obviously everything has been largely positive. If I was being a bit picky, but personally it don't actually bother me. Obviously, with the increase of androgenic activity, I've got more acne now. Not like bad acne. Like on my face, it's pretty minimal because I take good care of my skin. But like just on my upper back and like delts, I've got obviously a few pimples, but don't really bother me to be honest. And like it can be dealt with if I put more effort into it. I am just a bit lazy sometimes, not showering after cardio and shit. So
yeah,
you
but
had a look
if
at-
you had normal natural
Sorry.
tests at the level you're at, surely that would be the same, right? So that's just the
yeah, I
cost.
suppose it would be. Like when I first went on, it was definitely significantly worse because I didn't realize just how bad I'd be affected by acne with obviously my like hormones rising. After a few weeks of just being diligent with my skincare, it went straight back down. So aside from the acne, which like I say isn't really even a problem for me, it's only been positive. That's actually it's a question I get quite a lot of my the anonymous stuff. What's it called? NGL?
Yeah, NGL.
Yeah, people ask me all the time, oh, what's the worst thing about taking like testosterone? And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna sound like I'm selling it now. I don't mean this in a good way. But personally, for me, there is no negative side to what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? It's a quality of life thing. Like it's culture.
There won't be for you because you're replacing something that should already be going on.
Any negative, you probably overlook it by just going, like, I feel normal. I couldn't give a shit about X, Y, and Z. Yeah. I do have a question on. I've seen you address this on your story before because obviously someone's going to go, oh, he's on gear. So that just means he's on gear. He's just a fucking meathead now. Like, how would you put that to bed? Because I've seen you put stories up about it, but like that would do my head in. Like, how? Because you can't prove it. There's not like a level of going, oh, I'm on TRT, because obviously TRT is different for everyone. Like, it's either you're on it or you're not. Essentially, people can trust you or be ignorant.
Yeah, well, the way I deal with it is like usually when I get them things saying, "Oh, you just like you used it as an excuse to blast gear," or something along them lines. It's usually someone who's done it anonymously because they're too much of a bitch to actually say it to you. And like at the end of the day, I don't really give a shit what they think because like they don't actually understand my reasonings or my story or anything about me. They just know that I'm on TRT now, and they just like obviously in social media, people love to chat shit about people. It is what it is, you know what I mean?
But mate, you're buying it from a clinic. They're going to notice if you're going through like 4 or 5 vials a month, right? And you're also
getting it like every other week. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly. And you're getting your bloods done. Like, it would be different if you were like sourcing it yourself, but going through a clinic, they're not going to let you do that. They're going to like, be like, oh,
no, literally,
test is way too high.
They would cancel my subscription if they thought I would.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So if anyone's saying that, they're an idiot and they have no idea what they're on about. And the fact that they've said it anonymously just like says it all, really.
Yeah, like the simple way I see it is like usually when I get them sort of ones, I just like look at them, I laugh at them. I will respond to them because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
I don't actually care what people who don't know my situation think because like it's irrelevant to them.
Yeah.
Like the same way if I was to comment on someone else's like, oh, I don't even know. Like if I didn't know someone and I was to send them a message that's like just digging at them without knowing what they're actually going through, like it's the same thing. Like it's just a no story in it. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't actually matter. As long as the people who I care about understand it, that's all that really matters to me. So
there's just no winning on social media. Like if you're natty, people will think you're on gear. If you look good, if you look bad, people will just like call you small. If you're on TRT, people say you're blasting gear. If you're on gear, people will say that you look crap, or if you look great, they'll be like, you must be abusing. There's just no winning. Like, no, there is no winning in this sphere. So people like that, they're just going to be dicks,
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like I had someone, I can't remember who it was now. It was someone who I know at the gym. He was actually speaking to me about Reese, Reese Pearson.
Yeah.
And because he didn't win his men's physique shows, he went, oh, Reese, it must be a shit bodybuilder if he hadn't won his shows. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you can't, like, you don't know him at all. And the guy looks fucking mint. Like, it's such like.
Sorry, I was checked out for a second.
Some bloke at my gym who follows Reese as well. I don't have his Instagram handle. If I had it, I'd just say it.
Call him out. You're a dickhead.
Yeah, he came up to me because like it was like, did you see Reese's story about like because the guy who came first at that first men's physique show was like obviously
He was a pile of shit, mate. He was tiny.
significantly like lighter and more way less muscle than Reese was.
Mate, I hated his physique. He looked so weird.
And the guy basically went, "Oh well, Reese must be shit because that guy won." And I was like, "Are you out of your mind? What do
Reese, if you put them on paper, obviously that's PCA there. There was the glaze issue.
Yeah.
Reese is by far and away a better bodybuilder than that guy.
Yeah,
that guy could have just been someone who's just gone, oh, I've got low test, hopped on gear and jumped in a PCA show. He genuinely just had good muscle bellies and a good level of condition. But his men's physique, you don't need out of this world condition, realistically.
That's what I mean. But like that were crazy to me because it just shows how easy it is, like people to chat shit about things they know nothing about. And I was like, if you look at Reese, say he's got a shit physique, you are like literally smoking crack.
Mate, obviously I was coached by him for a while. He is fucking huge. Like, I've seen him at Future. That guy is like,
I remember bumping
into my height, but he's got 40 kilos on me in peak off season or something. 30 kilos.
I remember bumping into Matt Rotherham and looking at him and thinking, "Fuck me," sideways.
He's wearing like 4XLs. He's huge.
Yeah. But no one would. Thing is, people don't say that to like those people in person. They always say shit like distantly or whatever.
Well, why would you? Because Reese would probably fucking knock you out in one.
Exactly. Like even like some of the bodybuilders that train at my gym or my old coach Liam, like people who aren't like huge in the bodybuilding world, you see them in real life and you're like, what the fuck?
Liam's fucking massive.
Looking at Liam is surreal, and I'm like, how? Like he's just won like 2 PCA shows. That's it. Like on paper, it's like, oh, he's not that good of a bodybuilder. You look at him in person, like, what the fuck?
Like imagine if you saw like the best in the world bodybuilders in person, like they are bigger than massive.
Yeah.
Like take Reese. What Reese is to me, that's what they are to Reese. Like it's that fucking caliber up. It's ridiculous.
I mean, but it just shows how easy it is for people to chat shit about others in this world when like they know it's got no effect to them. Like that's why I brought it up. Like, just speaking about the NGL stuff. Yeah, and waving around there.
That's me. That's what I do. I just chat shit for a living.
Yeah, like I saw Neil Curry at Ultraflex, and man just looks like a fucking cannonball. Like he's just so round. Like he's got an oversized t-shirt on and his fucking lats just out that way. What is stupid? I was gonna say earlier, Kenno, have you had a look at like Matt's acne business?
I was thinking that.
Yeah, I was actually going to buy the book yesterday, but I completely forgot to do it. And you've just reminded me to buy it today. Like, I'm sure a lot of the stuff in there is stuff I may already know, but obviously Wade knows way more than me, and there'll be stuff in there I don't know, which will only benefit me. And like, I mean, yeah, it can only help, can't it? Like I said, the acne isn't a big issue for me personally because it's not that bad. But if I can get rid of it completely, I don't see why I wouldn't at the same time.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
I also
almost a second topic to this podcast. And is there anything else that we want to discuss in regards to the like TRT test side of things?
I reckon I've covered everything I wanted to personally know.
I think that's pretty much most of it. Like it's nothing because it's not really like a cycle. The dosage is going to be pretty fixed. You're going to stay on it for as long as physically possible. We talked about
that's going to be huge at 95.
To be fair, you will be like when you hit middle age, you're going to be healthier than natty people potentially.
I think that is the only time I'd ever go on gear personally.
He's healthier than he would have been if he had stayed natural anyway, though.
Yeah, but I mean, like like people always make the argument that like, oh, you when your hormones naturally start to drop, just let them drop, and it's like yes and no, because that's when we start to see like people really age and start to like head towards high risk factors of certain issues or diseases. So I like personally, I think like if I didn't go enhanced, I would have gone on TRT at like.
I think I will, but I think you only get that knowledge from being exposed to this sort of thing. Like, I would genuinely probably only go on 100 milligrams. Like there's and at that age there wouldn't be the temptation to go, oh, let's blast, like unless I want to go for Mars.
You'd fall apart.
People have been blasting all their life, they'll be like still ridiculously better, I think.
Yeah, it's something that I would recommend to most people when they get to that age anyway. Because like, if you know, especially if you're like into bodybuilding, you know how your body should feel, and you will notice as you get older that you're feeling shitter.
You're
And
more
at the
in
end,
tune with your body, aren't you, when you do bodybuilding? You know when something's off more.
Yeah.
can you imagine that ice cream van going down my street?
Yeah. I thought that was your
Hey,
phone.
go get me one. Go get me one.
That has never been down my street before, bro. That's what.
But yeah, I'd say it's probably something that most people don't notice. I think this because I hear some people sometimes go like, "Oh, I feel like shit," and then like I ask them, "How much you eating today? How much you drank today?" Like it's not aimed at my missus is there. She thinks it's aimed at her. It's not. But yeah, to a degree. But when you have most of your variables in check in your life, you know when something's off. But if you're fucking, most people change their food every day. There could just be a food that doesn't agree with them. You can't tell when you're off, but when you're in tune all the time, you can go, shit, my test is down or whatever.
And I feel like it's a lot of the lads who think they have low tests, they just kind of like wake up, don't eat, go to the gym super late, realize they got a bunch of food, get takeout, stay up all night playing games, and then get no sleep. And then they'll be like, man, I feel like crap. And it's like, yeah, obviously you've eaten nothing quality. You've got no quality sleep behind you. And you're going to be like, oh, I guess I'll use a small dose of anabolics and then slowly push up until I'm blasting gear. Like, no.
Yeah. So to summarize this whole testosterone in the like educational way, if you think it might affect you, first nail all your shit, see if you still feel like shit.
Yeah.
You've got the problem, like Kenno said, like libido issues, that could be a big telltale sign. Go and get checked before you do anything stupid. Don't go on gear. Because if you're interested in bodybuilding, fuck it, you can't go natural anymore because you're an idiot. So go get it checked. And I'd say in general, if you can afford it, go and get a panel of your bloods. Because personally, I'm pretty sure I've got some sort of deficiency because I'm always cold or like temperature affects me more. So just go get your bloods done anyway if you are nailing your stuff, and it's probably just worth it to see for like a general health perspective because bodybuilding isn't that healthy. So you should probably
it's not at all healthy.
Go look after your health because I sure as shit don't with the amount of sugar I eat on a daily basis. Fucking like half a box of cereal. Yeah, go on then.
Well, I get all my vitamins and minerals from cereal at this point. I don't even need fruit and veg.
I justify it by putting a bit of salad in one of my meals. Yeah, that's right.
Blended spinach in Cocoa Pops, mate.
Yeah.
But I think that's a very, very good summary, Dan. Make sure that everything is in check before you look to do and hop on.
Yeah, at the end of the day,
Fuck it and just do it. Blast and vibes.
He's joking, everyone. He's joking.
It is a lifelong commitment, isn't it? Like, you need to make sure it is your last choice if you're doing it. Like, that's just a short and narrow. If you feel a bit shit, but your lifestyle's shit, then no, like, there you go. That's your reason. If your answer to that is TRT, not fixing anything, like, it really, you've now just added another stressor to your life at the end of the day.
It's another external thing to control.
That's what three things.
Like you've got to think about the finance for it, the health, like yeah, it is.
Yeah, I was literally about to say that. Like 3 things people don't think about. You now can't compete in professional sports at all. If you're in the gym and you're from a sports background, you're now cheating. Can't do that. You're reliant on your finances to feel like a regular person. And you're also reliant on a needle for the rest of your life. If you can avoid making that decision and you don't want to, don't do it. Because like, if you're just blasting for the sake of it, yeah, cool, when you're like 20, 25, 30, whatever. But like when you're completely shut down and you don't have a source for your drugs anymore, what are you going to do? You're just going to suffer. Whereas like if you're getting it prescribed from a clinic like Jack here, then he's going to be fine, he's going to be covered, it makes sense. He would literally be worse off without it.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. I think a lot of people don't realize that it is a lifelong thing that people don't realize. Like they might think, oh, I don't mind injecting like 3, 4, 5 times a week right now, but 10 years down the line you're gonna be like, oh, this is fucking right pain in the ass, you know what I mean? Like if you have to keep
the more you can pin, the better as well, really, like for hormone levels. So that's like, you're pinning like 300 plus times a year. That's 3,000 in 10 years. 10 years isn't a long time. How many years are you going to be on? Like half a decade, maybe. That's what, like 15,000 times you're going to have to pin. Sick. Like, are you prepared to do that? If you're perfectly fine natty, why would you?
Yeah, fuck that. I'm scared of needles anyway, so I'm a pussy. So
That just reminded me of something when you boys mentioned the finances side of things. Like, I think on Medichecks, the panel of blood work that I got was like literally everything, and it was like 200 quid. Like,
yeah, I think I got one for like 70 quid, and it had like a decent chunk of like essential info, but obviously not the deepest level.
and
I
if
think the TRT panel is, I think that's like 89 quid or something, the TRT panel
I
there.
think that's the one I got.
Decent.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
worth it.
like if you're one of those people that doesn't really have that lifestyle stuff in check, like as you say, you're just getting takeaways because you've got a load of calories left for the month, or you're going out with your mate left for the month, left for the day, or you're going out with your mates loads, you're going to spend 200 quid anyway on that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like easy,
Yeah.
because it adds up. And it's something that it's not like you need to get blood work done every single month. Like, especially if you're just a natty guy and you want to keep a good eye on things, like once a year is sound for sure.
I was actually speaking about this earlier in the car. Bodybuilding, you know, everyone says it's expensive. It's as expensive as you make it. Like, do you need creatine? No, you don't. Like, could you just like?
It's expensive if you're enhanced. That's the main expense.
Yeah, well,
you're enhanced,
something like natty, like the amount of money I spend on a weekly basis is like fuck all. Like, I'm buying food, and that's probably it. Like, I don't use single supplements because I don't use them consistently enough. But I still, compared to like an average person that's like into health and fitness, I'm probably way ahead of the curve. Like, but it doesn't need to be expensive. Like, you could literally sort all your stuff, get rid of the takeaways, get rid of whatever else, live a normal lifestyle as like a bodybuilder or whatever, cheaply, and you could afford it like so easy. I think about how much the average person goes out.
The biggest scam, in my opinion, pre-workout. That's the biggest scam, in my opinion, mate. What?
Ooh, strong.
I don't buy it anymore. Sometimes I get a Monster. I've had a Monster and a coffee today. But,
I don't mind doing a Monster every now and again, but like, bro, pre-workout for me, it's just like, unless I'm doing it, like, I'll take a pre when I'm with like the boys. Do you know what I mean?
I will not be doing that again. I will not be taking. Don't take pre from strangers, kids. Fucking hell. Kenno, it's when you turned around to me after I chopped mine, you were like, fucking hell, you put 4 scoops in mine. I was like, how much do you put in mine? And I was just like, fucking 15 minutes in. I was like, boys, I'm like Luke and Kenno would say, I was literally turning around like every 2 minutes going, boys, I'm going to have to be sick. I think I'm going to have to be sick.
I was feeling that, to be fair, bro. That was a tough pre-workout. I'm not going to lie.
No, I'm not touching it. It was the bag it was in. And that they had a fucking DMAE one or whatever, like that banned substance one. I was like, what? Like, imagine if you'd taken that.
Surprised Tom didn't say that one, you know, to be honest.
Yeah, he's a lunatic with stims.
Fuck it, yeah. When me and Luke went around his house once before a session, well, what did he take? Was it 4 scoops of defib?
Oh, no, it was a good amount.
Like, yeah, this is just the normal. He was like, it's because I'm such a big person. I was like, I think 4 scoops is normal, mate.
Literally, yeah, but like I don't get much pre. I've got 2 tubs, one which I've had since like December last year, and one since I've had like this time last year, that are still like both half full, because I'll literally just take it when I feel like I actually want it. Like, if you need to take a pre-workout to have a good session, there's something else throughout your day that you are not doing well enough.
Yeah.
When I took pre's like relatively consistently, it wouldn't even be like a full serving. It'd be like enough for like 150 milligrams of caffeine. I know I'm not getting like the efficacious dose of everything else, but like to have something rather than fucking get wired every session and feel like shit, like when you don't have it. I think so. I think the only thing like I'd say spend your money on is protein. Like, it actually is useful beyond, like, because loads of people struggle to get their protein, whereas like creatine, everything else is just like cherry on top, 1%. But it don't matter if you're not doing everything else, does it?
Protein's probably the one thing if you're deficient in, you'd notice, you know.
Yeah. Go on, Kenno, what'd you say?
What's your favourite farm flavour, just on the topic of protein?
Lemon cheesecake.
Dead.
Fuck off. Put it in oats, yeah? And the oats make like the cheese.
Dead.
Oh, mate, shut. Or raspberry white chocolate's pretty good.
Right, I'm going to ask someone else.
DB Fitzgrad is not approved.
I'll always down the lemon cheesecake is good, but the sweet and salted popcorn one's really, really nice. Cinnamon donut's good.
No, cinnamon donut shit. No
flavors.
No, cinnamon donuts so bad.
You're digging yourself a big hole with me at the minute.
I haven't tried a lot of the new flavors. I've literally, like, probably a week ago only got protein in because all the foods I was eating, I had to change my foods in my bulk because I just didn't have the appetite for it. So I had to put like honey and toast in the mornings to like, actually get some food in. And like protein twice a day instead of 2 meals of chicken because it's just like volume I didn't want. So, but now I'm eating more and I'm like higher appetite, so it's sound.
Have any of you tried the cookies and cream one from Farm?
I think I have.
I've done.
Yeah, it's nice at first, but then I sort of got pretty bored of it pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe at the minute because I bought a 2 kilo of it the other day, and like the first like quarter of it, I was like, "Oh, this is banging," but now I'm kind of like looking forward to getting it finished. So, yeah, I think cereal milk's the best one, you know, for me. Have you tried the cereal?
Oh, cereal milk. Yeah, I have tried that one.
Is it good? Is it actually good?
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
Has anyone done the vegan ones? Are they any good?
No.
Oh, I used to have the bulk powders vegan one back in the day, and that was
blend. The blend is grim.
That was actually all right. To be fair, I'd put it into oats. And it was good.
I can't eat oats, and I can't eat whey.
Oats are a no-go for me. Oats are so poor.
What is?
Oats.
Oh yeah, I can't have oats. Wait, Jack, what did you say?
You can have clear whey, can't you? Like the my protein stuff.
Yeah, but like,
expensive, isn't it?
Don't get me wrong.
It's a bit dead though. Like, I don't know. Maybe I will get some in, but
nah, clear whey. If you get a flavor you like, it's actually banging. Like it's actually really good. It's so easy to drink as well.
I got a client who's mixing it in with like jelly mix. He has jelly mix and clear whey, and he mixes them together and makes like a little jelly protein jelly.
That ain't a bad pre-workout for me, that.
Yeah, mate, exactly. It sounds quite nice, isn't it? He's a genius.
That's awful.
Oh,
Also,
man.
Dan, just looping back to your story, I would agree your scram's got better, by the way.
Hasn't it?
The pizza.
No.
You see that? Oh, do you want to see the third one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was basically use what toppings you have left because I'd accounted for certain amounts of toppings, like certain amount of chicken for that meal. And then I was like,
did you make the base yourself or did you buy a dough?
We bought it because we thought, oh, it takes so fucking long.
Did you stretch it?
Yeah. It was like, we had to fully make it and everything. Yeah.
Mad.
Mate, why'd you think it fucking looked that shape?
Yeah, fair.
Hang on, let me get the last one. It was more like, I don't know how to describe it. It was just like quite dense is how I describe it in the end.
What were the calories like? Was it good calories, easy calories?
Oh, I was going to put it on my story as to how much like food it actually was, because I've actually got the calories there. For 3 pieces, they're probably like this big, like pretty decent size, you know, adequate cheese, adequate toppings, everything. It was 1,300 calories.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
And the macros, like, so what I do a lot is when I'm having like an on plan, off plan, like a meal with my missus, it'll be like my fats will go a little bit higher in that meal, but I'll account for it with the carbs coming down. And it's not optimal, but like the calories are still similar, and it's not like I'm having loads of fats. So that's what it ended up being yesterday, and I just pulled a bit of rice from another meal.
I do that on rest days. Rest days on macro swap a lot.
To be fair, bro, if like at the end of the day you're bulking anyway, so I'm sure your carbs are still high enough. You know what I mean?
Literally. The thing with me is like, as long as it's on a rest day, I'm not that stressed. You know, like on a rest day, some people do higher fat, lower carb deliberately. So I always, not really now because I haven't got that many calories to play with. But if I'm bulking, I'll normally on a rest day like swap something out to eat whatever.
Yeah,
I didn't take a photo of the final pizza, but I got my halfway through. I tried to make it look like Darth Vader.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
And then basically on top of that, I put all my remaining cheese, which is probably about equal throughout the pizza, maybe a bit more on this, and then fuck tons of chicken because I had loads left. And it was actually banging. There were 3 pizzas. Like, yeah, I'll be doing that more often, pretty much, because it was actually so good. Little pizza oven, everything. Little smoke as well. Just felt like a fucking chef, mate.
It's nice to do that sort of thing, isn't it? Like macro swapping stuff.
Yeah. That's like my flexibility. I don't have loads of off plans at the moment, but it'll be like my calories will be roughly the same. And like sometimes when I can't be asked to eat cereal, this is bad, I eat a pack of party rings. Okay, because these things they're like a little bit higher in fat than what I'd have in my meal, but like they're still a pretty good fat to carb ratio. And then I just have something like pure carb or something. Like I'll have that, and I have loads of carbs left over, and I have some like chicken and potato or something. Like if I want more volume, that's what I'll do.
Mate, that's fine, honestly. If it keeps you bulking, I think that's optimal. Genuinely, like if that's the difference between you ending a bulk and continuing, and you want to continue, mate. You saw what I was eating at the end of mine, honestly.
Probably like a week or two ago, I was literally like sat on the toilet thinking like I'm gonna be sick, like from eating my like meals. And then literally all I've changed is, so my first meal just used to be protein, so it was quick. I just like literally eat some chicken. How about that? But now it's a protein shake, so palatable, and then it's 3 slices of toast and some honey, and it's like 700 calories versus like 150 that I was getting before. And like it's not affecting my appetite for my next meal. And there's less rice in the meals that are harder to do. And then rather than having peanut butter as my fat source in with that, like chicken, rice, and peanut butter, I've got dark chocolate on the side again, which I actually love. I don't know why I took it out.
Do like olive something. That'd be an easy fat source. Sure.
It's just like when I'm like batch cooking for like a few days, it's hard to measure what oil goes in what.
Yeah.
So I just kind of avoid that, and I just don't. I'm not a massive fan of oils. I know it can make it really nice, and if I was cooking on a day, then yeah, I could use oils. But like, yeah, it's not my vibe. And I just nail a holy amount of cereal in the evenings, and then
the end was madness as well, Jack. By the way, I used to love seeing the shit you came up with on your stories.
What
like the all that? Nah, Jack's.
Wait, what? Me? What did I do?
Yeah, you were reading at the end of your bulk was just nutty.
Blended chicken.
You were throwing in.
Bro,
I'd never do that.
Literally, like we were pushing, and I was like, if I don't eat like a lunatic, this is just my appetite will just collapse. So I was like, you know what? I can always run my bloods. I can see what the health impact is. Let's just send it. There were multiple times I'd be sat here on a podcast, and there would just be like 200-gram packs of like cookies next to me, and each one's like 2,000 calories, and I'd just be like you can feel your teeth rot as you eat them. I'd eat like vegan Ben and Jerry's. I'd eat Domino's. I used to eat entire Doritos packs. They're like 1,000 calories, and I'd have that like as a snack in between meals. Peanut butter and jam bagels. Oh mate, I was on it.
I actually find the difference when I eat like that, just like the fat. Oh, it sounds pretty stupid, but I can actually feel like a big difference in myself. Yeah, I don't know if it's the mental of I'm eating on plan versus off plan, but like I actually feel more lethargic when I eat that shit.
Yeah, no, mate, 100%.
You will do naturally anyway, well, because it's lesser quality food at the end of the day.
Literally digesting constantly. But if you're okay with the health trade-offs and you want to keep bulking, and that's the only way you can keep going, then arguably it makes sense. Like
we're eating no worse than a normal human, realistically.
Yeah. No, I definitely was.
Of cookies, alcohol, everything. Like,
bruv, I definitely was.
The weird thing for me was at the end of my bulk, I would like never felt full to the brim. If you get me, like I felt full, but like I could have kept eating, which was weird.
Yeah. I think that's. I can always keep eating, but I just feel sicker and sicker.
I didn't even at peak calories. I was like, oh, that's fine. I could do another meal if I wanted.
What was peak calories?
4,700 on a training day.
And you found that like
bro, that's the weird thing. Like I was like
calm. That's quite calm. Wow.
Yeah, my last bulk when I was with Reese, I was up to 4,300. Didn't feel full. I was sound to keep eating. I was absolutely fine. This one I was getting absolutely cucked at 3,500, and so I had to change my foods. But now I could probably get up to that quite easily.
Yeah.
This is actually an interesting thing. I don't know what to do with my training at the moment, as in like nutrition wise, because I'm sick. My bulk goes through something. I'm bulking now. I have been since January. And then I cut over fucking winter months. It's so thick. And I need to basically find a way of breaking the rhythm. And because I'm not going to do a 6-month diet like a prep, all that it leaves me is a short bulk. So like, I could maintain, but essentially, I don't know if this makes sense. You know how you're meant to stay in a surplus for a long amount of time?
Yes.
Yeah. How detrimental would a 1 month diet be to that? Because what I'm thinking currently is I could probably push like another 2 or 3 months, diet like either October or November, or maybe like 5 or 6 weeks, then like head into Christmas as like the start of like another gaining phase that's like 4 or 5 months, and then do a proper diet. And then I'm like then pushing up, like I'm lean for summer, and then like I'm actually in a good like yearly routine.
I think if you could mentally hack a really, really tough deficit, then 4 weeks wouldn't be huge issue, really.
I could, yeah. I could just like
That
what
would be.
it is
If
is
you were doing a 4-week diet, wanting to pull off as much as possible, that's going to be really hard mentally, to be honest.
I reckon I could take like without it like properly affecting me, like I could probably take off 8 kilos in a month. I could.
Woo, fuck you know. Better play.
I probably wouldn't want to take that much off. I probably want to take like 6, maybe 7, because obviously the first couple of kilos are like fluid.
Just fly off, yeah.
Yeah, but like, I just don't know what to do with it because I want to get it so like I'm actually lean in the next time. So I've got a festival end of August, mate. I'm gonna be so fucking fat. I ain't gonna want to take my top off, but I'm gonna be roasted.
At the end of the day, right? Who fucking cares? Like, no one's gonna look at
I know there's that element, but I'd like to be able to go topless. I'd like to not be fucking hot and lethargic at a festival, you know, missing cat. Like the only benefit for me is what food could be high at like Christmas. That's the only like time in the year that I'm like, you know, it'd be good to be bulking then and then to be lean in summer. And at the moment, it's just.
I do think as well, though, bro, if you were to do a mini cut in November, ready for Christmas, with the amount of like off-plan shit that is absolutely going to happen at Christmas, it might leave it a bit of a dud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm thinking about doing it a bit earlier, like October. Give myself that month to reverse, that month and a half or whatever. Then do it. Push up to like, I don't know, April or like March, like another 4 months of pushing. Not get as almost like a pre-prep diet sort of vibe,
Yeah.
and then diet properly 2 months, get relatively lean, or until training performance starts to go, and then start like how I kind of do it, how it falls, like 10-month bulk, 2-month cut. Then I'm kind of roughly in that.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, man, like whilst it might not be quote unquote optimal, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Like
with how I approach bodybuilding and like how I live it, it's like I don't know why I'm being so precious about how long I bulk for.
Yeah, if you
the thing is as well, like it's about how long you spend in total. And if you're using, say, if you're going to do 8 months continuous versus if you did 6, 1 month break, and then 3, arguably that is better because you've set yourself up for more time spent in a surplus.
Yeah.
So if you don't have to do it all in one go. Like people, like when people have a 2-year off season, they don't just push up continuously. They'll drag down aggressively when they're quite bored of food and then push up again.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Look back and think, oh shit, I wish I hadn't done that month in the diet because I'd be way bigger now. Like that's not going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it'll just be like, because it's quite subjective. Like my rate of gain can fluctuate. Like the past month, like I've been sat roughly the same weight since I'm back from holiday. I came back from holiday. There was a day after I weighed at like 89 or something, but I've been 87.5 like the whole of last week and 88.1 this morning or something. So still there. I am just going to go until my appetite dies, try work food a bit higher, try get like I said, as much pushing as I can get. I don't think I'll be able to do more than 3 months before it becomes too untidy. So go like 2-3 months, just see where I sit, probably do a month and then push up again. But it's just that like deferred gratification thing because I want to be lean again. I want to see the new muscle. But if I can do a 1 month diet, just get down to like, say, where I am now or a bit leaner than where I am now, push up again and then come down.
Yeah, mate.
If you do a 1 month aggressive diet, at the end of the day, it will make you ready to eat again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's just for me, it's like I'm finally at a point where if I did cut, my execution is not going to go to shit. I could probably still progress and probably actually monitor where training performance does fall off. Because before it was like when I dieted, I started with Tom. So it was like my execution was getting better. I couldn't tell when training performance was dropping off because I had so much better execution. I was just continually getting better. So I was using less and less load. Whereas now it's at a point where I'm like executing well. By the time I go into my diet in 2 or 3 months, I'll probably be sound. So that's probably what I'll do.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Anyway, you've got 2 fantastic coaches here. You can,
well, I did say this to the boys. I said next time I diet, so I'm to hold myself accountable because I don't have anyone to do that. I'll literally put my weights in and be like, this is what I've done. This is what I'm planning to do. Someone tell me if I'm being stupid.
Yeah, bro.
Because that's all I need. It's just like a second eye. I don't need a whole coach. Like I can keep my execution in check. I know what to do roughly. I just need, but then crunch decisions I could do with someone going, yeah or no.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose when you're doing it yourself, it becomes hard not to do something emotionally, doesn't it?
Yeah.
100%. I mean, that's why I have a coach for sure. It's just like, you're almost so invested that there's a conflict of interest, you know?
Yeah. But man needs a house, so man can't afford a coach.
How long's left our mini cut, by the way, Jack? Just out of curiosity, speaking about diets and whatnot.
Well, how's it going?
Yeah, how long have you got left in it?
I'm not quite sure. I think Christian initially said it might be 8 weeks. I'm 193 at the minute. I want to get down to like 180, 185. So as long as it takes, biofeedback is fantastic. I'm still quite fat, quite flat, and not hungry. So yeah, we'll see. Either a really aggressive 3 weeks or a really aggressive 7 weeks.
Yeah.
We had a check-in where one of them, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, like this is something that I do a lot as a client. I need to stop. I had a check-in where I was like, bro, push me. This is fine. I'm not hungry. Everything's easy. And he was like, look, calm down. Let me just make the decision.
That's
like,
classic, Christian.
Yeah.
Christian's gonna be like, shut the fuck up, mate.
No. He was like, why'd you hire me? And I was like, because I trust your decision. And he was like, well, then just tell me how you're feeling. Don't tell me what direction you want to go, and we'll just trust me. And I was like, okay, mate. So I'm just like telling him how I feel.
Shit, my friend.
Yeah. Like I'm instead of being like, oh, I want to push, I'll just when he's like, how hungry are you? I just say I'm not hungry at all, and then he'll do what he does. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I think I did that too much with Liam as well. I got too attached with like directing the coach almost, which is easy to happen, but yeah. So I'm not sure how long's left.
That's why I wouldn't get a coach. I'm too want to do it by myself, if you get me.
Yeah.
On this note, it's probably a good time to let Luke leave because he said at past he needs to.
Oh crap! Yeah.
No, it's all good, man. My nan is going to pick my sister up.
Say less.
Gee.
Yeah, we didn't go on to the second topic, so I'm going to use this as a segue.
Yeah, do that because Luke's
so,
now loudness.
Jack, I'm sure you're very, very familiar with this, and then the other boys as well. I'm sure you've encountered this at some point in terms of people saying that they like really struggle to manage their overall sort of fitness stuff alongside work. So Jack works full time. He also manages the place that he works at. So Jack, give us the rundown, mate. How do you manage everything alongside like being or taking your training relatively seriously and also having a proper job that you need to commit to?
A proper job.
I mean,
Jack just slating us.
as David Goggins as it
Sorry,
sounds,
Kenno, mate.
just like, you know what I mean? But yeah, stop showing me that, Dan. I'm very hungry right now. I think it's really person dependent as well, because I don't work a typical 9 to 5 being in hospitality. I work whatever hours I'm given, basically. So like for me, I sort of like have my non-negotiables that I will do regardless of the hours I'm doing that day. And like for me, that is meal prepping, training, cardio, etc. I'm quite lucky in the sense that I don't usually have to worry about steps because I'm going to tick them all off at work. So like there's a bit of time there that I can save. But some days like you kind of have to. I mean, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, mate. Just we heard you when you said about the steps, and then it sort of broke up from there.
Yep.
Oh yeah, sorry, my Wi-Fi's going down the drain.
That's right, we're used to it with Luke.
Well, I'm at home now. My Wi-Fi is good. Don't attack me.
So I was basically just saying, essentially, sometimes you kind of have to make a sacrifice somewhere along the way in terms of maybe letting something slip. Like the past couple of weeks, my sleep's been pretty awful, in honesty. I've had to wake up early. And I've been doing long shifts at work, getting home at like 11, 12.
Hello? I got the gist. Sleep is the hardest thing with a job. I will say that's the hardest thing I found, even with a 9 to 5 that's like regulated. Like,
yeah,
with the gym, like for example, it's half an hour for me after work. I go straight from work, train, an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like you're back, and it's like 7:30.
Just quickly, 1 second.
No worries. Yeah, you get back, it's like 7:38. Want to do something with your evening? Got a meal prep? Fucking there's your evening gone, mate. Like you have got nothing. And you think if you I work 8 till 5, which is a bit peak, but like still, like I need to be in bed really by like 10:30, 11 at the latest to get like I get up at 7:30 to get like a decent bit of time in bed, because obviously 8 hours in bed isn't 8 hours of sleep. So yeah, the sleep's definitely the hardest thing I find with that. But other than that, Kenno's got it more peak. Like he can get steps in. I struggle to get steps in, but I do a walk every lunchtime. My lunchtime's about the same time every day because I work the same shift. My meal timings are pretty consistent. Like, so like with a 9 to 5, it's not too bad. Certain things will suffer. With shift work, like especially a place where you're literally staying up later because people are there later, like that is going to take quite a hit on bodybuilding. So you can only manage it as well as you can, really.
Yeah, and
I
think as well with that, like, and just in terms of, like you say, it is good to have a routine, but understanding that it's not always going to be realistic helps. Because, like, ideally for me, I'd like to eat every 3 hours if I could. But if it's busy at work, I can't just be like, right, boys, I'm off upstairs. I'm going to go eat some food. You know what I mean? I need to stay down there and.
Yeah, you can, mate. Just do that and you'll be sound.
So, like, it's just about being realistic with what you can do at the end of the day, because, like, yeah, it's not always going to be perfect, but life isn't perfect. You just do the best you can.
Yeah.
I've got a client who works shifts, and they could be anywhere from 5 hours to 16 hours long. And so, we have a fairly routine training split. I've given him, he'll send across when his shifts are. I'll look at them, give him ideas of when he can meal prep, and we've got a different meal plan depending on what his shift is and what it's going to be. So same nutrition, same numbers being hit, but different food selection, different meal numbers based on what works for him. And similarly for training, most of the time he hits 4 days per week. Sometimes we have to do 3. So then I've got an optional third session where it's basically a combination of the two that would normally be. So instead of upper, lower, I convert the second upper and lower into a full body. So it's still the same lifts being hit. There's still that progression, but the split can change. So I think basically all I'm saying in a more kind of, I guess, I don't know, complicated way, to be honest, is like Jack said, it's all about ticking non-negotiables. So which ones are you picking as your non-negotiables? So for my client, we've picked hitting macros and hitting progressions on certain lifts, right? And so, you know, sometimes you have to pick between sleep or food or training. And I think really the answer is just prioritizing and changing what you prioritize as much as possible.
Just nail what you can at the end of the day. Oh, see you later, Kenno.
It's all right, wait for him to come back. But I think as well, like if you notice that there's always something that is off, like if your sleep's a bit cut short, like Dan, you know, I'm sure he's okay, he's managing. But if he was getting like 4 or 5 hours every night, he'd be like, right, something needs to change, you know. So having a bit of self-awareness with like with my client, where if we just can't get 4 days per weekend, we'll just do 3 or we'll just do 2. Just know where your limits are as well. So prioritize, yes, and have non-negotiables, yes, but also have a point where you're like, okay, I should probably like call it. You know, sometimes you have to pick like, okay, I'm going to have to go out and get a meal deal at lunch because I didn't have time to meal prep because I would have had like 3 hours sleep or something, you know.
Damage minimization, be as optimal as you can.
Yeah.
Or situation, like you say, choose what's best for you. Like,
and hire a coach. You have to hire a coach. There's no other way.
I was going to say, if your life's like that, a coach like Luke or Jack, no offense, boys, like a lower level coach is in like not as many clients. Like someone like Christian or Cal Rystrick ain't going to be for you. They ain't got the fucking time for you to sit there and merge an upper and lower together. They ain't going to do it. And nor are they going to want to. And you're probably going to feel like you're begging for their attention and it's not going to be a good relationship. So, yeah.
Yeah. It depends. That just kind of comes down to the coach and their like coaching approach. A lot of my clients that I deal with have busier lifestyles and have less time. To be honest, once I've kind of set up the flow of things and I get an idea for what works for different weeks for him, it is much faster and easier. But probably those first 2 months were quite time consuming for me. But again, it happens with any client, like, you know, like Luke will attest, the first month. I mean, it depends on the client. Maybe the first like week up to the first month, up to the first 3 months are normally like the most time consuming, depending on what they're going on. Some clients will just, you know, and then others like, you know, whatever happens, life gets in the way, or they said they could train for 2 hours and you set them a 2 hour session and that's just miles off or something, you know.
Yeah, like I've got one guy who he's got late shifts, early shifts, and then night shifts, so it rotates every 3 weeks. And he says that like on those weeks where he's doing all night shifts, like he's just wrecked. Sleep's not going to be good, and it's like, okay, well, we're running upper 3 sessions a week and lower 2 sessions a week. we'll just do 2 upper sessions on that week and then have an additional rest day because you're wrecked anyway from getting worse sleep.
I'd almost argue there's a point of like, well, some weeks if you can do upper and lower twice, but other weeks you can only do like 3 sessions a week. If it's quite consistent, you're probably better off doing the 3 sessions a week consistently. And when you can do that 4 session, not actually doing it. Because
mate, I say this all the time, like planning your training split, plan it for your busiest week. Don't plan it for, oh, I could probably be able to do this some of the time. Like, then you're just fucked.
Yeah.
It's like you're not.
If you can't measure progression as well, it throws things out of whack. Just do like you say, for your busiest week is like a great tip.
For reference, 1 in every 30 weeks is a 3 session day. And also I've talked him down from 5 to 4. So that's another also important like note to mention is, yes, arguably he'd be better off doing 3 year round for those other 29 weeks. But by the same token, he enjoys training and, you know.
Well, yeah, no, that's a bit of a different sort of like, if you've got one busy week in the year, then yeah, but like on average, pick what you can stick to.
If you're doing 3, if you're doing 3 most of the time and occasionally doing 4, the 4 is pointless, just rest more. If it's like, I don't know, fairly frequently that you're hitting 3, it's up to you, but you have to also ask yourself, like, how much does the process mean to you? If you're trying to step on stage, 3. If he came to me being like, I want to be competitive, I'd be like, it's 3 year round, baby, we're doing 3, consistency. But because he's just like, I just want to get in shape and I want to enjoy. And as well, like some people, you know, they need the gym as a bit of a like mental health de-stressor. And if that's you, then okay, maybe there is merit in taking that additional session. And what that additional session looks like needs to be well managed. Is it just cardio, just stretching a light arms and delts, or, you know, light abs and calves or forearms or something? So again, there is room to kind of do the inverse of like, most of the time you train 3 days per week, sometimes you train 4, but you need to manage it correctly.
Could be a good place to wrap it there because Kenno seems to have died.
Has he said anything?
He's in the waiting room. I just didn't let him in.
Oh, why not?
An idiot.
I just didn't see it.
Oh my days, bro. You're gonna let him in and we're gonna have to wrap up because I need to leave.
Yeah, well, we'll wrap up with Kenno.
Yeah, get him in.
Yeah, let him in. Paul.
I'm gonna have to edit this out of the pod, aren't I?
Sorry, Kenno.
I do apologize.
No. It's ain't your
It's my fault, bro. I was just blankly staring at stuff and I forgot to see that you're in the waiting room.
Bro, my computer just absolutely shattered brick. It just fucking made this right dodgy noise and turned off.
Tell Ben stuff, get a new computer.
Oh, mate, you should just quickly, before we go back onto the topic of like habit tracking, look at the state of this. All these stuff there.
Ben's room.
All this stuff down here.
Why is it in your house though?
What a good friend. What a good friend.
He's moving tomorrow, basically. But originally, he weren't meant to be moving into his new place until like 3 days later. So he thought he had to go home. So now I just like own Ben's entire life for now.
I'll buy the Prestos.
Oh, mate, he's kept the
Well,
Prestos.
they're famous. They're world famous, haven't they?
They always stay on.
Mate, I need
Anyway,
to
what did I-
squat 4 plates aside. I need them.
Any good habit building? You were talking about your client who does retarded work hours.
Yeah. So essentially for him, I'll wrap up. I'll try and summarize what I said and we can put it into a reel. This will be great. Let's see if I can do it in under 60 seconds.
Content.
Right. I've got a client, works shifts. They're really inconsistent. It can be anywhere from like, I think 5 hours to 16 hours. He'll send me through in batches what his shifts are. Based on that, his meal plan may change. Say if it's going to be impossible for him to eat 4 meals, me prescribing 4 meals is pointless. So sometimes we do 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever makes the most sense for him, right? Sometimes it's different meals, sometimes it's the same meals, whatever. His training split is 4 days per week because that is what he enjoys. And that is for the most part what he's able to do. 1 in every, say, probably 30 weeks, he's too busy for that. So instead I take the upper and the lower, combine them into a full body and then prescribe that. So the boxes that we're choosing to tick and prioritize are hitting progressions on certain lifts and hitting calories and protein. Once those are hit, that's pretty much him done. You know, then he can relax, he can sleep, he's still getting his job done. The rest of the kind of little things don't matter so much, like his steps kind of stay the same. We're not currently using any cardio to diet. So to be honest, those are really the only boxes that need to be ticked.
Write that shit down.
Right,
Yeah.
boys, I'm gonna have to wrap this up here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, boys. I really need to shoot
Because
off.
this is a really long podcast. A really good one, by the way. I think it's been a great podcast.
Is Jack the 5th member of Catabolic Window?
Fucking five's too many.
Slowly
boys.
expand.
Bro, it still confuses me that your name is Jack. It just doesn't register.
Yeah, I had some come up to the other day and they generally thought I were called Kenno. I was like, nah.
Like Joppo.
Fucking hell. Imagine that in the hospital on the birth certificate. What do you want to call
Kenno
yourself?
Kennedy.
Kenno sounds like a good one, doesn't it?
Kenno Kennedy.
Mental.
All right, well, ladies and gents, thanks for, well, if you made it this far, as per.
Oh,
Thanks
God.
for episode 35, Catabolic Window. I hope you got some useful insights into the fact that you're probably not TRT deficient, even if you think you are. But yeah, we'll wrap it there. So, adios. Luke, you better stop recording, mate.
Nah, bro. I was gonna say, right, people, please, if you've enjoyed it, screenshot it, share it on your story, and
Good point.
tag us all. And if you don't know Kenno's Instagram, was it Kenno_fitness?
It is indeed.
Oh, nailed it. Right. Yeah, adios, people. Cheers for listening.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.